Welcome to an episode of The Diplomats, where we talk about the spring 1910 and give predictions for who will win the Season 4 Nexus Online Diplomacy Championship. I'm Go Horns Go. My partner in crime is Umble the Heap. I ask the questions, he gives the answers, brought to you by diplomacybriefing.com. Umble, how are you doing tonight? And tell us about Diplomacy Briefing.
I'm doing great. It's a nice, cool evening, and Diplomacy Briefing is the coolest weekly email in diplomacy, and it is free. You can go to diplomacybriefing.com to sign up. You can sign up also through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but email is going to be the best way. And it's currently really surpassed 600 subscribers. And it's just become the place to keep up to date with everything going on in the online community and in the face-to-face community and what's being done right now in the virtual space between face-to-face and online tournaments.
All right, Umble. Well, thanks for that. Let's look at the spring 1910. A curious bunch of moves by a bunch of different powers. What leaps out at you?
Well, to me, the most interesting move to me is Munich to Tyrolia, and what ultimately the purpose is, because it can't be because he's expecting to get anything from it. So the question becomes, is he doing that move to help Russia or to help France? You would think Germany has very little reason to help France, and yet his moves seem somewhat pro-French. Because you would think he would support Burgundy to Belgium and move Munich to her, or something along those lines.
I don't know. First of all, who knows? Austria doesn't like Russia, so he might want Austrian assistance. I don't know how he could get it, but that army in Tyrolia at least makes for an interesting bunch of mathematical theories as to who could get to 9 or 10.
But these are the moves that cause you not to win, right? The moves he's making has now guaranteed that France will take London with no loss. So he can now support from the North Sea, or he can support North Sea to Belgium from Picardy, so that France will not be losing Belgium now, and then
we'll
just
gain
take London with the English. Yeah.
France is getting to 9, maybe 10, depending on Naples.
Right. And the chances of him getting Naples are 0 unless Italy or Turkey decide to help him, because now I would have been interested. I know we kind of slightly mentioned about the possibility of him trying to convoy Tunis to Apulia. At least I think I mentioned something about that. That would have been really interesting, because he could have actually made a forced disband of the Italian army if he would have done that, and he then would have got Naples the following year. But it was obviously it was somewhat of a risky move. Not a terrible risky move, but a little bit of one. That would have been really neat to see. If he had done that, I would have been like, man, France, you definitely deserve to win. If you were to come up with something like that.
All right. But, I have interesting questions about France in the next segment, but talk about Turkey here, moving to Armenia, but Russia doesn't really do much. Doesn't go for Budapest. Doesn't support into Budapest. I'm not sure what the thinking is precisely. Maybe he was worried about Munich moving to Bohemia. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't the most safe move set to make. It obviously seemed to be, I'm happy staying at 9, and maybe that's a reflection to where he is on the totem pole with the rankings. And he may say, rather than really trying to risk losing a center, I'm just going to play it really straight up and make sure that I don't lose anything. So the only way Russia's going to lose something this turn really is if Germany or Austria decide to help Turkey for some reason, or to work together, which I'm not sure.
Well,
I'm
Germany
not sure
and
why.
France could work together theoretically, but that would only net Germany, Norway. I don't see France helping Germany to do that.
Well, Germany could get Sweden, I guess, if France decided to help
Yeah,
them.
correct. Sweden. Yeah, Germany could get Sweden. Sorry. Were you surprised Sweden didn't move to Denmark?
I thought there was a possibility that Sweden might go to Baltic and Norway go to Sweden and maybe move an army up to St. Petersburg. I thought that might be a possibility, though it was definitely a long shot. Germany moving Denmark to Baltic doesn't make much sense to me. I don't.
What's the play there? Unless you
The
get
only
French help, you can't take Sweden.
Yeah, I'm not sure why France would do that because
Germany.
if France helps Germany get up a
You're not sure
center.
why France. I got you. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why France would do that because that's risking his own win because then
He won't take London.
Germany can take Belgium, and then if Germany takes Sweden on top of that, then now Germany's at 9. So I don't see why France may be telling Germany he's going to help him take Sweden, but I don't know why France would do it, and I don't know why Germany would believe him to do that.
I mean, I don't understand why Germany didn't ultimately move to the North Sea. I don't under. I mean, he would have been able to take Belgium. Sure, North Sea would have retreated to London, but it puts him in a better position.
There's a whole bunch of better positions yet that he could have gone to. I mean, I guess I get Belgium to Picardy. The reasoning behind that, they don't want maybe Burgundy to slip into there or something like that. But if you're trying to maximize your chance to win and you're Germany, you've got to take Belgium, and you need that while you can do it. And Munich to Ruhr would have been, to me, the move set, and probably supporting Burgundy up to Belgium, or at the very least Holland. Both would have worked. I don't know why you completely disengage going to Ruhr from France. It looks incredibly pro-French for the reason I don't know. I don't know the reason why.
And he still holds in Silesia. He doesn't even move to Warsaw again.
No.
It's his favorite move.
Yeah.
Now, I want to switch the map over to the way it looks now, and I want to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
All right, so this is what the map looks right now. There's only one season left, fall 1910, and we will crown a winner of this tournament. Russia is at 9, and France is for sure getting to 9. But France has a couple of ways, or at least one way that I see, to get to 10. Do you think there's any chance that army in Tunis may convoy to Greece if Turkey presses an attack on Russia?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Does he just go ahead and try for it? I mean, on the same token, I mean, you would think that Turkey's going to cover that one way or another. I don't know. It all depends. France is definitely going to get to 9. If Germany is going to help France win for some reason, then you might as well just leave Edinburgh and let the North Sea go right in. But to me, that would be a very sad way to win, by throwing centers to France, who stabbed you several different times.
I don't see any evidence that Germany's throwing it to France.
Yeah, well, I'm worried because of how he's made his moves, because they've been so objectively terrible. Moving to Baltic Sea and moving Denmark away doesn't make things tougher for France. Moving out of Burgundy and moving Munich to Tyrolia doesn't make things harder for France. I don't. It looks to me very pro-French, those moves, because he can't get Belgium back now. That's for sure. And France can take London. So going for Greece is probably the Hail Mary. What you try to do, I suppose. A lot of this comes down to, why did Germany go to Tyrolia? Like that's the big mystery for fall 1910. In so many ways, that's the spot that could determine the winner, right? If he supports Russia, and helps Russia get into Venice, then he wins. He helps France get into Venice, then he wins. So Germany easily can be the kingmaker here. I have no idea what I'm very interested to see what he's going to do, because to me that's going to pretty much unlock what happens in this for the ending.
So you think there's a chance that he may support Rome to Venice?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility, or he obviously went there for a reason, right?
Well, my thought it was try and make a deal with somebody to get one more center. Maybe that was naive. He can help Turkey. He can help Turkey get Trieste. Turkey could help him get Trieste.
Well, why would they do that? Why would either of them help the other?
Hatred of Russia, but I don't think Germany hates Russia.
I don't think there's that much bad blood against. I mean, you saw how Turkey's been supporting him all through the game. They both attacked each other somewhat at the same time. I don't think there's any bad blood. It really was, lost them sooner than, way before all of this. So it doesn't look like anybody's really reacting on this with hatred, except maybe Austria and Italy to each other. But other than that, I think pretty much playing it straight up. Yeah.
Well, if it's all played straight up, would you agree Russia at 9 and France at 9 will come down to the tiebreaker? France needs to get either really lucky with Greece or Naples, or get help with Germany to win, to have a center count lead.
If everything is played with people trying to maximize their score, it's going to be 9, and it'll be the tiebreaker in the rankings, and that might be that'll probably dictate how France or Russia plays this last turn. The way Russia plays by playing safe makes me think that they are higher in the rankings. And France, I need to look. I want to look real quick and see.
I think
where
Russia is Flint, or used to be known as Conk. That's just my guess, but the way I've seen him play, I don't have any inside information. I think he would be tops.
Yeah, if that's who that is. I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, so he's first is Babu, third is Pez.
Who is second again?
Okay. Babu.
Okay.
Pez. And superstition. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, the way Russia played that didn't quite seem as desperate trying to grab an extra center, because I would have almost thought he would have ported to Tyrolia.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I would have thought he would have supported Vienna to Tyrolia, perhaps, if he was really desperate to get a center, because Venice and Romania would have been the ones that would perhaps be the most open. I don't know. Or you could have tried to go a Warsaw to Prussia and drop Sweden to the Baltic, maybe a support of 2. somewhere. I don't know. It's hard to say. They're all long shots, but the way he played it was so safe. It almost makes you think he has a higher ranking and he feels comfortable there.
I mean, we agree Russia can't get to 10. Can't take Romania. That's the only center that he could take.
Right.
Okay,
so he dropped 8.
Turkey can't get better than 8, I guess. Well, I guess he could take Sevastopol and Trieste, but Russia would have to not enter support orders.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay. So that central right there in the central changes how everything is played, right? Because if Russia or Germany hit Venice, now Rome is vulnerable, right? And it's all who knows what's going to happen, because I think that central peninsula is going to probably determine who wins this game. And it's going to probably be between France and Russia. If France loses Rome, depending on how everything goes, if he loses Rome, then, in fact, if I was France, I'd probably even strongly consider importing Rome to Naples. I don't know. It's tough. It's hard to say, because it's really tough to say how you would play that. Going for Greece isn't a terrible move. It's a kind of a long shot, but you might say, hey, there's a chance that'll be open. I don't know. If I'm Russia, I'm probably just, what can you do? You have to say I'm going to play it safe and hope 9 will get me in. At this point.
In my mind, Russia has 9, and he thinks someone needs 10 to win. The only person realistically who can get to 10 is France. Diplomacy is going to be working right now. He's going to work with Turkey to try and make sure that doesn't happen. Turkey realistically can't win, can't take them off of Russia. My prediction is Russia wins.
Turkey and Germany don't. Yeah, Turkey and Germany cannot win unless someone throws them centers. It's just not going to happen. And unless someone's throwing centers to France or Russia, to me it looks like it's going to be a tiebreaker, because basic defense would put you in that position.
I mean, France could be. So let me ask you this. I haven't done the math. Let's say Russia, if it was a tie between Russia and France at 9, then would France have any incentive to help Germany get into Sweden?
Yeah.
Because that cuts Russia to 8. The question is how you keep Belgium. The question is how you keep Belgium. You still get London.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. If he helps, if he drops Russia center, and not only Germany, right? Not only Germany to get Sweden, but also he could then grab Belgium, also pushing him to 9, and France would not be at 9. France would stay at 8. So to me, it's so risky. It's just not worth it unless you know that you're on the lower end of the totem pole and you have to do it. That's the only way. But you're most likely then setting up Germany to win the game. So I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Because you have to think, if you're France, why would Germany not double cross me in this last move? He didn't go Burgundy to Munich. He went Burgundy to Ruhr.
Well, okay, silence isn't great on a podcast. I still think Russia's going to pull it out, but France is right there. Who do you think?
Well, to me, I think they're probably going to end, unless somebody throws the other centers, which I really hope is not the case, I think it's going to come down to the rankings between France and Russia both being at 9. To me, that's what the logical outcome is. France has some things that maybe
between Russia and France.
I think France has the greatest chance to win this outright, by slipping into Greece or perhaps in a final bit of revenge, Italy going against Austria or something like that. I mean, there's ways, if Austria is willing to risk some things, there's some ways to maybe be able to pull something off. But there's some different ways that France can get to 10, but I don't see how Russia can get to 10. So I think France has the best chance to win it all, and other than that, it comes down to the rankings. So that we'll just have to see what happens. Everybody playing at its best will be a 9-9 ending.
I agree. All right. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Well, I just want to say, I know I was listening to some of the last podcast, and I was like, I could tell, like, from my tone just how disappointed I was at times with some of the movesets. I really do feel like this has been a great finals. So I tip my hat to all the finalists. It's been a very enjoyable one. You can tell oftentimes it's been very aggressively played. It's been a very top level game. And it shows too by this ending where you have 4 countries very close together. And, if this game continued on, I'm sure it could continue on for another 5 years easily. And it's just been very, very good play. I feel like no one jumped out way ahead. There's been good, fluidity in the alliance structures also. So this has been, in my opinion, one of the best finals that the Nexus has. And I think all the finalists can hold their head high that they've played a solid game.
All right. Well, what I'd like to say is it's a lot easier being us than it is being on the other end of it. I've been on the other end of it. We're not seeing the diplomacy. Some of the moves may be explained a little later on in interviews or after action reports. I'd love to talk to everybody. I have nothing but love for all of them, including Captain Meme, who I genuinely hope is doing well. It's all been a joke, what I've said so far, just for fun. And I think that this game has been super interesting for everybody, not just us, but you can tell by the number of people watching these podcasts that it's garnered a lot of interest, and for good reason. So thank you, Umbo. Thank you, diplomacybriefing.com. And we will talk to you tomorrow after a winner is crowned.
Great. We'll look forward to it.
All right.